Dang it! Dang it. Y'all know how bad I wanted Larson to win that race. Not even just because it's Larson. Oh, Colts are up 31-10. By the way, I know this is a NASCAR show, but Colts are going to the Super Bowl. Just getting that out there. But, bruh, I want you to understand something. Like, you know, obviously when you always want your favorite driver to win, right? But when everyone wants to act like your driver is washed for some reason because he hasn't won since May. Again, Caden, I'm looking at you. Or, you know, it's like, oh, he's never won at a super speedway. Sean, Jalen, I'm looking at you. Screw Busher, by the way. No, I'm just playing. I know you're in pain, man. I'll talk about that in a second. But, yeah. Because we've been duped by fuel so much this year, I was thinking, okay, they're talking about fuel again. Yeah, that doesn't mean anything. And it actually meant something. Damn it. Raging, where are you, man? I need someone to share this pain with me. But, yeah, this is an introduction to the Cutline if I've ever seen it. So, welcome to the Cutline, everyone. I'm your host, Armani DePaul. As you can see, I am in pain because Larson was half a lap away from his first Super Speedway win. But I know the chat's been talking a lot about Chase Briscoe. JGR for life. I know you're happy. Your profile pic does it again. Absolutely. I didn't have Briscoe making the Final Four. I thought he was a year away, but I was wrong. Gets in. I'm a Chase Briscoe fan now from CB. I'm surprised you're not a Christopher Bell or a Chase Briscoe fan. Or Chase. Actually, no. Wait, CB. Yeah, no. Okay. I'm going crazy. All right. Just ignore what I'm saying. Bell and Larson will easily point their way to the championship four unless the bottom four win now. The bottom four are all 35 points out. And really, well, when we take a look at the standings, we'll take a look at that. Chase Briscoe, fire. That's a fire name. Yeah, let's just jump straight into it then, and we will. Oh, wrong one. There we go. So let's just jump straight into it and talk about 26. I know I'm looking here, but you know the screen is on here. That's just how the setup is. Bear with me. But oh man, we were so close to getting the first super speedway win. We were so close. Like, we were this close. Half a lap. I'm telling y'all, Larson is going to get a super speedway win soon. He could have won. He could have swept Talaldega this year. He could have easily swept Talaldega this year. That's how good he's been at plate tracks. Daytona, a little finicky. Atlanta, he was good. He could have won in Atlanta, but I'm telling you, man, Larson's first super speedway win is coming sooner than we realize. And y'all can finally shut up about Larson not winning at a super speedway. If you can tell I'm in pain, yeah, I'm in pain. This race was intense. They were going 5 wide with 3 to go. Bet. That's bro. No, CB. That is what they were. I guarantee you, the drivers, they were like this. We 5 wide? How many laps we at? 3 laps? 5 wide? All right, bet. Let's go. If I had my wheel, I could mimic it better. Which my wheel is down here. Which, by the way, I was supposed to go live. I was gonna do a Talladega race on Thursday, but some personal things came up to where I couldn't end up going live on Thursday. But I'm gonna see. I still want to do a Talladega race live with y'all, so I'm gonna try to find a way to do it tomorrow before they switch it from Talladega to Martinsville. And if not, I'll just do a Martinsville stream. It'll be just as chaotic as Talladega, let's be honest, because it's iRacing. But yeah, I'm gonna try to do a Talladega stream tomorrow. I can't promise anything, but I'm going to try. But yeah, Chase Briscoe. Let's start off with Briscoe because I just need a moment to cry about Larson. Man, Chase Briscoe. I did not see this coming at all from the 19. I thought, you know, going into the year, I thought that Briscoe could maybe win a race. You know, he'll probably make it to the round of 12, and then that's about it. But no, this 19 and Chase Briscoe, him, James Small, all of them, they have been just a well-oiled machine. I mean, they are top 5ing everyone to death, top 10 everyone to death. They are leading laps, and they have, more specifically, turned it on in the playoffs. I've talked about it in previous streams where I don't believe in performing under pressure when it comes to racing, just because there's so many factors that can go into it. You can blow a tire on the last lap. You can just blow a motor. Rain can hit. You know, there's the big one. There's too many different factors in racing to where I don't believe that performing under pressure exists in motorsports. But if there's any indication of that, that would say, if there's any indication, because like, I'll be honest, I don't believe Joey, like there's only two indications I really want that I would say actually falls under performing under pressure, and that is you take a strategy that no one else thinks of and you make it work. That's what Joey Logano did at Las Vegas last year, that locked himself into Phoenix to eventually win the championship. But if there's any case that would, I guess we'd say, you know, that people can use that are performing under pressure, playoff pressure, I would say it's Chase Briscoe. Won the Southern 500, a phenomenal round of 16, a quiet round of 12, but still made it in. Wins Talladega, locks himself into Phoenix, a track he's won at in the past. Of course, he got his first career win there. If there's any indication of performing under playoff pressure, the 19 car is doing just that. I mean, this is a team that was winless last year. Truex was checked out. James Small was on the hot seat. And then look at what they're doing now. 3 wins on the year, a Final Four berth. And they look like, you know, possibly if there's, I mean, let's be honest, besides the Penske cars, who can you think challenged Denny Hamlin? I don't trust Hendrick at Phoenix unless there's a late pit call. Penske, they're not looking great right now to make the Final Four. So if there's anyone that's going to do it, it would be one of his teammates, Briscoe or Bell. And Briscoe, again, he's won at Phoenix in a Stewart-Haas car. You put him now in championship situations with a JGR car, and now they have to at least split the resources between, you know, himself and Denny Hamlin. I'm talking about Joe Gibbs Racing. Now it makes things a lot more interesting for Phoenix. So, I mean, Chase Briscoe, I mean, in terms of year ones, I mean, besides Kyle Larson with Hendrick back in 2021, this is about as good as you can get. Larson's a top 5 super speedway driver right now. Exactly. Absolutely, Ryan. I agree with you 100%. Funny that today is the 19th day of the 10th month that car number 19 wins. Oh, wow. You're actually correct. Yeah, look. And you can ignore all that. And you can see the Colt score as well. But yeah, 19th. And my fire background. But yeah, Briscoe definitely doing well. Bubba almost won this race. Cole Custer top 5. That's interesting. Christopher Bell in P8. We'll take a look at the points later on. But I mean, Bell, solid play. It's so hard to really judge a lot of these, to judge these plate races in terms of like saying like, oh, this guy did really well, this guy did really bad, you know, they should have done this differently, they should have done that differently. I mean, again, unless you're Larson and you run out of gas, or you're Briscoe and you end up winning, it's so hard to say what they should have done differently because, again, positions can change like in just a few seconds. You could be leading going to turn 1 and then you're 25th coming out of turn number 4 on the same lap. So it's kind of hard to judge that. But Bell, P8, again, I have really the conversation's going to be when we get into the point standings. But a P8, great result for Bell. Raging, I finally see you here in the chat. I don't know how Cliff thought Larson was going to make it on fuel. His final stop was so short. I didn't see his final stop. I'm assuming it was less than 3 seconds in that case. Elite is in the building. Let's freaking go. I know you're happy, my man. You and JJR for life got to be real excited right now. I'm happy for your drivers in the Final Four. Hopefully my driver, who I didn't predict making the Final Four, but I will gladly be proven wrong, can join you in the Final Four. As long as it's not Logano. I'm sorry, a 3-time Logano fan, if you're watching this. I'm sorry. I don't know why Nemechek is shown on here. We can close him. P16 for Joey Logano. I don't know why, but probably because I just don't want to see him make the Final Four again. I've been kind of on a Joey Logano hate train throughout these playoffs. So you could ask, Elite, you can ask Raging Knuckles, you can ask anyone in the Discord who's in the chat who's in the Daily Downforce Discord, which, by the way, go join that, by the way. I was hating all day on Joey Logano. Like, Joey Logano was in the lead. I'm just like, hey, Blaney, stop being a good teammate. Pit him. Just get Logano out of here. And I was hating on Logano throughout this race. P16, Not looking good for him in Martinsville. He's going to have to win, but I believe it was DCOM. He said that everyone is 35 below. We'll look at that in a second, but yeah, not looking good for Logano. And as you can see, those are the only 3 playoff drivers that finished inside the top 20. I can see what why everyone below is 35 or below. Ryan Blaney, what could have been for Blaney? Again, just he's gonna have to win Martinsville. He won there last year in this specific race, so good track for Blaney to get back going. But again, you want a little more out of Blaney for a finish. Hamlin in 24th, he's locked in. This finish doesn't really matter for him. Byron in 25th, again, he added up there. I'm guessing when he ran out of gas, along with Larson, of course, they finished both 25th and 26th. And then Chase Elliott finishes 40th. Not a great day for the Hendrick guys. In terms of playoff finishers, all 3 of the bottom finishers are Hendricks. To quote my favorite band, 3DG, pain. To quote, if we're quoting pain, I wouldn't be quoting a band. I would be quoting Naruto. Feel pain. Understand pain. This world shall know pain. Larson picked up 4 spots on pit road because it was short. Ah, I see. And you are right. Elite is going to have a good night, as he should, or as you should, Elite. Again, the problem with plate racing is just, I mean, Ellie got involved in the wreck. There's not much to say about there. Larson ran out of gas. Byron probably ran out of gas. And I mean, yeah, it's just, you saw how Blaney and Logano, they came in at the end to splash and dash. The problem is, if you're Larson and Byron, you're the 2 leaders of the race. Yeah, you could have came in for a splash just to really be safe. But again, the problem with that is that you are asking a lot out of the leaders too, which I see, Raging Knuckles, you put up the standings. Appreciate that. You are asking a lot from the leaders to basically give up track position, especially with this car. Well, yes, the race today has been better than previous Talladega races in terms of gridlock. You're still asking a lot out of these guys to come in for a splash with this car on an overtime. It's asking a lot to basically say, hey, give up your track position to come on the pit road for gas. I can't blame Byron or Larson or their teams. I can't blame Rudy Fugle, and I can't blame Cliff Daniels. I want to say James Daniels for some reason, but I can't blame those 2 for taking the risk. Obviously it didn't work, and as you can see in the point standing, shout out to Raging, by the way, it really didn't matter at the end of the day. So yeah, it sucks. They would have rather been locked in, with that win, but again, you can't really blame them for going forward at that point. Again, Hamlin doesn't really matter. Blaney, he had a splash, so I mean, him finishing around here makes a lot of sense. Logano makes a lot of sense, the fact that he finished 16th. And the real damage is going to be here in the point standings. Of course, Raging put it here. Jack Daniels, James Daniels, exactly. Listen, all right. Lose-lose situation. You pit everyone, questions your decision. You stay out, you run out. Exactly. I mean, the only way that works is if they just make it and they win. That's the only time that makes it, especially given how throughout the summer, we were just getting duped by fuel. Oh, they're low on fuel, and then they have enough for a burnout. So you can't even really judge if they're actually on fuel or not. So, I mean, you can't even really blame them in that case. I need Jack Daniels after Elliott and Byron crushed my hopes. Well, speaking of which, I know you're seeing the screen right now, so your hopes are definitely being crushed even more. Let's take a look here at the round of 8 going into the penultimate race at Martinsville. Hamlin and Briscoe, they're locked in, and pretty much everyone else is locked in. The real battle is going to, I mean, look, plus 37, plus 36 for Bell and Larson. They are in great situations, assuming one of these guys doesn't win. The problem, and this is why I'm not going to say Bell and Larson while they're in good situations, they need to be sweating a little bit. Let me explain why. Besides Logano, all 3 of these guys are really good at Martinsville, the next gen era. Byron's won twice in the next gen era. Blaney, we know how good he is here in the fall. Elliott ran really well here in the spring, finished top 5. If one of these guys wins, and I'm not saying Logano can't win, he's also good at Martinsville. He's won here in the past. If one of these guys win, this cushion turns into a 1-point cushion. And at that point, I have to ask, who do you trust between Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson to advance at Martinsville? Because again, they're only separated by 1 point. Yes, it says plus 37, plus 36, but this is assuming one of these bottom 5 doesn't end up winning. If one of these bottom 5s ends up winning, then this completely changes. Because everyone down here has to win. It's must win for everyone. You're not pointing your way with 36 points, especially on a guy like a Larson or a Bell. Maybe a Larson out of Martinsville, but Larson will probably run top 5, top 10 here. So you're not going to outpoint these guys. You have to beat them straight up. So if that's the case, let's say you're a Larson or a Bell, who do you trust out of the two? I'd lean towards Bell at Martinsville, especially. I think he's just been slightly better than Larson at Martinsville, even though Larson has won here in the past, but so has Christopher Bell. But I think it's really close between the two. I think JGR is going to do everything they can now that they have Hamlin and Briscoe locked in. They're going to do everything they can to make sure Bell gets locked in as well. I can see some pit road strategy. I can see some shenanigans. I'm not going to say they're going to be as bad as what we saw last year with the Chevy wall, with the wall ride from Bell. That's a tongue twister. I don't think we're going to see it to that extent, but I can see the 11 or the 19 trying to do some things to help the 20 really lock themselves into the Final Four. But again, if one of these guys wins, it's going to come down to one of these guys who's only separated by 1 point. Now, if one of these 4 to win, I mean, how do you not say Blaney? Like, let's break these guys down, in terms of least likely to most likely. I'll start off with Joey Logano. He's the only driver of these 4 that hasn't won in the Next Gen era at Martinsville. His last at Martinsville, and I believe only Martinsville win, is back in 2018, with the whole Truex. He won the battle, but he didn't win the damn war, that thing. But even then, I can't recall a time when Logano has been really in contention to win at Martinsville. Usually when I see him in the ticker, he's running like 8th, 10th, lower than that. He might have a top 5 here and there, but other than that, I mean, Logano doesn't strike me as a Martinsville favorite for this weekend, for next weekend. So Joey Logano, in my opinion, is the least likely to win out of these 4, which means he'll probably dominate the race and then lock himself into Phoenix, because that's what Joey Logano likes to do, apparently. I am not excited for next weekend for Xfinity. Oh, dear. That's going to be fun. Don't get me started about Xfinity. I saw PTSD what happened the last time we were here. Exactly. I mean, I just talked about it. I trust Larson more. Bell was horrible last fall. He was a lap down when Bubba parked it. Oh, he was. Well, in that case, pressure, people bring stuff, this and that. Again, I trust Bell because I think JGR is going to do some things because they have 2 out of their 3 locked in. I think they're going to do some things to try to help the 20 get locked in. Whether it's giving him more equipment, a better setup, a better car, you name it. I think JGR is going to do more because they have 2 of their cars locked in. Whereas Hendrick, they're still trying to get at least 2 out of their 3 locked in. Odd year, we can ignore Logano, exactly. Both Bell and Larson have won here recently, exactly. Chase Elliott. Here's another guy who's won at Martinsville before, but that was back in the Gen 6. That was back in 2020 when he won his championship that year. That was actually the race he locked himself into the Final Four to get the championship. But the thing with Chase is he's been better than Logano at Martinsville, but you're still... I know he won at Kansas, but that was more Toyota lost the race more than Chase Elliott won. If you're really into sports, you know exactly what I mean. But again, he wasn't up front at Talaldega even before the wreck. Vegas, he was not really anywhere. It's just the idea of Chase Elliott Chase Elliott. Again, this was Chase Elliott back in 2020, 21, 22. I'd say, yeah, I could see Chase Elliott winning when the chips are down. I can't see Chase Elliott winning right now. Yes, this is a good track for him. Yes, I wouldn't be shocked if he won, but if you're going to ask me, I trust Blaney to win more. I trust Byron to win more. I trust Logano to win more. Well, I think Elliott has a better shot to win this week than Logano. I still trust the 22 to win more than the 9 nowadays. Even though, again, he just won at Kansas a couple weeks ago. Can you really say that you trust Chase Elliott to win when the chips are down nowadays? I can't. That's why he's 62 back. Byron, I'll put at the second spot. And it's not even the thing with Byron. He's won twice here in the next gen era. Really good here in Martinsville. Runs up front a lot. It's not that I think Byron is going to do worse than Blaney. Well, I do think he's going to do worse than Blaney. That's why I have him second and Blaney first. Is because it's Blaney, Martins. How can you bet against a guy who's won the last 2 fall races in a row? You can't. You're asking me to do a lot in that case. Also, Blaney was my championship pick, and I want that pick to still be alive, so I'm going to go with Blaney. Now, if Blaney advances, like I said, I think Larson will be bumped down, and then it would be Hamlin, Briscoe, Bell, and Blaney. 3 Bs and a D. 3 Bs and a D. The triple D, but the single D. But yeah, as for what I really think is going to happen, the odds of Blaney going 3 in a row in the fall are just, they're not realistic. And I'm not even saying that's because Blaney is bad. It's just the probability odds of that happening, just, they're not in Blaney's favor. The probability odds of going back to back in anything in NASCAR are not in anyone's favor. This isn't Formula 1 where you can just win 9 races in a row because you have a better car than everyone else. Like, this is NASCAR. This is actual competitive racing. So the odds of Blaney doing that, I just don't see it. Again, Logano, I don't see being up front. Elliott, he'll run top 5. I don't see him being a threat to win. Byron could. I just don't think he will. So what I really think is going to happen, I think these 4 stay the same. Which in that case means I only get one Final 4 driver right, and that was Denny. Because if you saw my playoff predictions way back, when I actually recorded videos for No Cautions Given before I switched it over to streaming, I had Denny, Byron, Blaney, and Elliott making the Final 4. And judging off this, at best I'll get 2 out of 4. But more than likely I'm going to get 1 out of 4. So 25% correct. That has been my luck with the playoffs nowadays. But yeah, final prediction, this stays the same. This stays the same. If any one of these 4 is going to win their way in, it's going to be Blaney. But again, the odds of him going 3 in a row in the fall, I just don't see happening. But if he does, I think Bell would advance and Larson will be bumped out. But that is just my opinion. And speaking of my opinions, we're going to move on to race weekend rankings. Now, I'm going to be honest. I didn't get a chance to watch the Talaldega Truck and Xfinity race. You could tell because I didn't put a poll out for was it a good race, this weekend. Raging, I don't know if you did or someone else did it or not, for the Truck and Xfinity race, but I didn't get to see those races. I was too busy with work or my other job, so I couldn't get to see it. So you guys will have to tell me, where they should go in terms of Xfinity or Truck should go where or there. I'll put Xfinity at 3 because it looks like that, just from what I could see from the discourse on Discord and on social media. Good to know. Appreciate that, Dash, and appreciate you, Raging. But from what I've seen from what it was just peeking through Discord or just looking on social media, it doesn't look like there's been a lot of good reception from the Xfinity race. So I'll put the Truck race, or I'll put the Xfinity race at the bottom, Truck race at the top, and then by default the Cup race is going to go number 1. But I thought Cup was actually a pretty solid race. The first 2/3 of the race I thought were okay. Not the greatest super speedway race in the world, but it wasn't a train wreck. It wasn't just gridlock. And then, of course, as we come to expect with these plate races, it really heats up in the last 20 to 15 laps. And then at least the overtime. Yeah, we had a spin with Byron, but at least I like my plate races when they're not wreck fests. And they're actually, to me, the 2 quintessential plate races is 2016 Talaldega in the spring, the one I believe the one Kenseth flipped in. I think Brad Keselowski won that race. And the 2019 Talladega spring race. Some of the best plate racing I've ever seen because it was it wasn't a wreck fest, which I hate when plate racing turns into wreck fest, but also it was phenomenal racing from start to finish. So, default number 1, this was kind of like that, but just the racing was a little bit less subpar. That's the Truck race. Love's RV Stop is the Truck race. Yep, figure that out. And appreciate you raging for that. Shout out to Jeb Bird for wrecking out all the Fords at once at Xfinity. Very impressive. Well, we should be happy then that whatever competitive ride he was going to get fell through, because he probably would have wrecked half of the field in the Cup race too. Brad Keselowski won that race. Moving on to the poll. Obviously, these two are going to go into the didn't watch poll. I know I made this section before, around the Richmond time, so probably a lot of these C races have to go in there. And as for the Cup race, I think it was a good race. I'll give it a B. I'll put it fairly high in the B tier. I thought it was a good race with a great finish. Nothing out of the world, nothing that blew me away, but it was a very good race. I still think the Las Vegas race last week was the quintessential B race. Like, it is a standard for B races. So that's why it is at the top. Of course, you got the Talaldega race. I'll put it here. And then that's what we got so far. Only 2 more weeks left of the race weekend rankings poll. I believe that is 6 races overall. Yep, because we got triple header next week and we got a triple header this week. So there we go. That is the 2025 race weekend rankings so far. We haven't had to put any races in the D or F tier so far or lately. I'm glad of that. I hope it stays that way for these next few races. But if Xfinity and Martinsville is any indication, it'll probably go in the F tier along with the first Xfinity Martinsville race right here. They need to stop going to Martinsville. They can't handle it. The fact that trucks can handle Martinsville better than Xfinity should say a lot. And there's one more thing I need to show. Oh. Now you may be wondering why this is popped up like this. The reason is because I had to send this to my friend who's a Buescher fan. Jalen, if you're watching this, you know what I mean. I feel so sorry for you. But yeah, that is the reason why that is showing up, because I had to show that to my friend. So, here we go. Was the Cup race at Talladega above or below the cut line? 17 votes so far. We're actually getting more people to vote on the polls, so I want to thank all of you for voting on them as well. Whether it's my poll or Raging's poll, I appreciate all of it. And we might as well take a look at Raging's polls while we're at it as well, which we'll get to that after this one. But 17 people voted so far. 59% have voted for above, including myself. 41% have voted for on, and 0% voted for below. And I agree. I think it was either going to be, I think it's a positive race. I don't think there's really much you can come out of it unless you're a Buescher fan, like my friend Jalen, or you can say it was, or just, I thought it was a solid race. Not a lot to take away here in terms of negativeness. And of course, we're going to show some love to Raging as well. Was the Xfinity race above or below, at Talladega, above or below the cut line? 10 people voted. We're going to make that 11. I didn't get to vote, so we'll just show results. So, 30% of people voted for above and on. 40% of people voted for below. Kind of makes sense given, again, the discourse sounds like it was a bad race, so makes sense. I'm surprised that above even has 3 votes. Yeah, it was pain. And then the truck race. Was the truck race at Talladega above or below the cut line? Seemed like people enjoyed that race. 5 people voted on that poll. 60% voted for above and 40% voted for on the cut line. So, pretty much, I took, again, kind of like a wild guess with truck and Xfinity. Looks like I got that right. But, yeah, those are the polls so far. And again, if you guys want to vote on these polls, whether I put them out or Raging or anyone else in the Discord puts them out, head over to the Daily Downforce Discord and join it. And then for every race day, at the end of every race, truck, Xfinity Cup, maybe we'll do ARCA in the future, who knows, we put out a poll saying, was the race above or below the cut line? It's basically our version of Jeff Gluck's was it a good race poll. And as you can see, we have above, below, and then as of the past few months, we've had on the cut line. So if you want to vote on the polls, the only way you can vote on it is on the Daily Downforce Discord. Race reaction directly after each race. You're going to want to join. But other than that, that is pretty much all I have for y'all. I have one more thing to tell y'all, and I'm looking forward to next week. I am very much, let me tell y'all something. There are 2 days I'm looking forward to next week. Number one, Tuesday, because I get to go pick up my dog, Kamui. I just got a puppy, or I just purchased a puppy from a good friend of mine. If you guys are big on the TikTok side of things, and especially on the TikTok dog side of things. If you've ever seen Roddy Rod 89, yeah. I'm officially part of the Royal Pup family now because I just bought my dog Kamui. I'm gonna go pick him up on Tuesday. If any of you are Naruto fans in the chat, you'll know where the name Kamui comes from. And, you know, I didn't want to name him. Kakashi's my favorite anime character of all time. I didn't want to name him Kakashi, but I wanted something similar to Kakashi, so I got Kamui. It came down between 4 names. Kamui, Speedy, Ace, or Lightning. Kamui obviously won. Speedy was the original name, but then I decided to think of other ones. A friend of mine, she came up with Ace for Ace the Bat Hound because I'm a huge Batman fan, and Lightning for Lightning McQueen. Eventually, Kamui ended up winning out. But maybe for a middle name, I'll choose Ace or Lightning or Speedy. I don't know. But yeah, getting my dog Kamui. That's the first day. That's the first one. So I'm excited for Tuesday for that. I'm also excited for next Sunday because we have a very, very special guest joining the Cutline on Sunday for Martinsville. And I already mentioned it in the Discord just briefly. I kind of just threw it in there, but I guess this will be the official announcement here on the stream. The man, the myth, the legend himself, Eric Estep, will be on the Cutline next week for Martinsville. I met Eric a couple times. I met him, you know, last year for the July Daytona race. Really awesome guy, a really tall guy as well. That is literally the first thing I told him when I first met him. I'm like, holy crap, you're tall. Like, I'm 5'11". You know, I'm not the tallest guy in the world. But still, you know, like, this man is like up here. And then I met him earlier this year when I was at the Daily Downforce tent at Daytona for February. But yes, Eric Estep, he's a really awesome guy, a really good guy as well. You know, the couple times I got to meet him, really fun guy to be around as well. So Eric Estep will be on the Cutline next week for Martinsville. I am looking forward to that. I hope you guys are looking forward to that episode as well. It is going to be a fun one. And I can see the chat's getting excited too. Appreciate the congratulations, by the way, CB. Stop motion legend. Stop motion legend himself, Eric Estep on the Cutline. Out of the Groove. My name is Eric, and welcome to Out of the Group. I think you meant to say Out of the Groove. But, yeah. Looking forward to next week. Next week's episode should be a fun one. But as for this week's episode, that's all I got. I got nothing else for this week. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you. Please like this stream and subscribe to the Daily Downforce YouTube channel. That helps me out a ton. That's the best way you can support me. Again, I'm going to see if I can get a stream done tomorrow, like in late afternoon or early evening. It just mostly depends on when Talaldega is going to go away and they're going to bring on Martinsville. See what I can do on that front, but stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, please like this stream, subscribe to the Daily Downforce YouTube channel. That'll help me out a ton. Check out dailydownforce.com for all sorts of great content over there. Whether you want to read a story, whether you want to play a mini game, you want to get some cool merch, head over to dailydownforce.com and help me out a ton. But that's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And with that, the broadcast has ended. Just like CB said, we'll see you next week for Martinsville.